Probably okay. All right. This is Math 11. You have a test tomorrow. And so I had said if there were any questions, I would make a video for today. I only received one question that I hadn't answered in a previous video. And that was, could I go over something like example 1, page 455? So that really is from the first section. I can go over a question sort of like it. Really, when we're talking about that type of question, it really is about reading and interpreting what they're asking for so that you give me the right proof. So I'm not going to do example 1 because I've already done it. But I thought maybe I would go to, let me see, if I went to say number 8 on page 460. Okay, actually no. Let's look at number 1 on page 460, which I think you actually had to do, but I'm going to add to the question a little bit, and I'm going to talk about some different things I could ask. So it says the vertices of a triangle are 0 and 0. So that's point A. And point B is 2 and 4. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's point B, and C is 4 and 0. So that's point C. And then when we draw it, we have this. Now it says, verify that triangle ABC is isosceles. All right, so let's talk about some different things I could ask. If this was a right angle triangle, I could say prove that it's a right angle triangle. If I ask you to prove that something is a right angle triangle, what do we know about right angle triangles? We know that it has a right angle. So that means two lines are perpendicular to one another, and perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals of one another. So if I said prove that something is a right angle triangle, you would be figuring out the slopes of the lines to show me that two of them are negative reciprocals of one another. If I said prove that something is a parallelogram, well, right in the word you have the words parallel. So I would be looking for slopes of sides to show me that opposite sides have the same slope and therefore are parallel, and you have a parallelogram. When they talk about what kind of a triangle is it an isosceles triangle or an equilateral triangle or a scalene triangle, the type of triangle that it is in relation to the lengths of the sides. So if I'm going to prove that something is an isosceles triangle, I'm going to use the length of a line formula. So what I would do is I would find the length of A to B, I would find the length of A to C, and I would find the length of B to C, and I would see that two of them are the same and one is different. And that would prove that it's an isosceles triangle. So in number 3, it said, and again, I'm not going to bother to do the calculations because I don't think that's really what the question was about. I think it was more about interpreting what's there. And so in number 3, it says you have a point of 1 and 4, and you have a point of negative 2 and 2, and you have a point of 3 and 1, and so we have this triangle. And it says prove that this is a right angle triangle. Well, to me, if I was drawing this, and I'd be doing it on graph paper if I were doing this, my guess is that right there is the right angle. So I would be finding the slope of this line and the slope of this line. They should be negative reciprocals of one another. So again, if this one turned out to be positive 2, this one should turn out to be negative 1 over 2. So that's what I would do there. If they talk about diagonals bisecting one another in a parallelogram, if something bisects, it means they meet in the middle. So I would be looking for midpoints of the two diagonals. So really, that whole section, that whole first section in chapter 8 is going to deal with slope formula, it's going to deal with length of a line formula, and it's going to deal with midpoint formula. But it's going to be up to you to really read and interpret what's there, so that you know, what do I have to do in order to prove it? If they said prove that this is a right angle triangle and you found me the lengths of the line, well, that doesn't prove that it's a right angle triangle. What proves it's a right angle triangle is the fact that in a right angle, these two lines are perpendicular, and perpendicular slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. So it's really about reading and interpreting what it is they're asking for and knowing what it is that will actually prove that, right? So I can't really help that more than that, I don't think. That really is, it's going to be a matter of reading the question and saying, what can I do to prove that specific thing? And it's going to be one of 3 things, or maybe even 2 of 3 things, but it's going to be a couple of things. And your choices are slope of a line, length of a line, or midpoint of a line. That's really it. Those are your only 3 choices in that first section. All right? So your test is tomorrow. If you have any last minute questions, I can't make another video. I won't have time. But if you have any questions, I will be around tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow meaning today. This is Sunday night for me. So I will see you at 9:40ish. That's when I'll be there, about 9:40ish. For your test. Your test starts at 9:50, and you will have right up until 11 o'clock to get your test done. All right? And again, if you need a couple of extra minutes, that's not a big deal, but that's the period time, right? So we'll see you then. Bye.